Here's what's trending today.
Okay.
The 2022 NFL Draft.
How about that?
We just got out of the 2021 NFL Draft, and now it's trending next year's. But no, in the CFL, it's let's go, wait. Let's not do interviews in the offseason. Hopefully they'll forget about us and they'll leave us alone. Ask and you shall receive.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, good morning, Canada. Welcome. Hey, it's a big day. Who's calling you, Moose?
I'm not sure. Don't they know I'm on the air?
Come on.
Is that the deal around
Can't
here?
be your mom.
It is not.
Welcome to the RP Show. It is episode number 477 of Canada's daytime sports talk show. We're coming to you from the bunker out here in not as warm as I'd like, Western Canada. RP here, Moose there, and I'm going to get to all your comments in a moment. It is a very big day. Kevin Costner's coming to mind for me today because it is draft day, and we're going to get into that in our Quick Six show topics here in moments. We are in the heartland of the Canadian Football League, out here in the sweatpants capital, so it is a big day. It is draft day. And a couple things that we're going to be talking about with our guest today. That's a big one. Donnie Taylor is going to be joining us, the ageless Don Taylor. You know him, you love him. From now, the Donnie and Dolly Show from Czech TV in BC. And we'll get to your story in a moment. Actually, no. Can you wrap it up in 45 seconds? The story with Don Taylor?
Oh, the Don Taylor story. Yeah, absolutely. My first
Everybody knows Don Taylor.
I met was Don Taylor in Vancouver as a 19-year-old just out of school. And I went to sit in on a show, Sportsnet Connected. And I'm back in the dark behind the lights. He's at the desk. And he was talking to me the whole show. He butchered, I don't know if it was some Asian basketball player in the NBA, butchered a name. And he looked over and he's, for all you young broadcasters out there, if you can't pronounce a name, say it fast, say it slurred. And he had little tidbits of advice throughout the rest of the show.
He's just a funny guy.
Kept looking behind the camera. So funny. I remember watching him as a kid and his Simpsons voices or all the different little shticks that he did. But it wasn't completely, mess around hour. He just was so good at dropping the shticks in. And that's what makes him great.
Well, I'm looking forward to that chat coming up. Don Taylor here in Block 2 of the program today. Later on in hour 2, we'll go a little deeper with our director of scouting, Craig Smith. 19 seasons in the Canadian Football League as either a scout, coach, or director of player personnel. So that's coming up. It's a good guest list today. Let's jump into the Quick Six show topics, please, Director Jordan. I got good news and I got bad news, and we're going to start with the good news. Where's Kevin Costner when you need him? Draft day. It's very exciting for the CFL aficionados. It's actually, I'm going to leave the poll question for a second, too. The Hamilton Tiger Cats have the number 1 overall pick. This is going to start just after 7 p.m. Eastern on TSN. The Saskatchewan Roughriders have the number 2 overall pick. And beyond that, I don't really care. But I've made my prediction that the Saskatchewan Roughriders are going to take Nelson Lacombo with the number 2 overall pick, University of Saskatchewan Huskies linebacker. I've been doing my research today. I've been calling all over for what I need to know about Nelson Lacombo. He is my prediction. They need to replace Cameron Judge with a Canadian linebacker. This guy's pro-ready. It's what everybody's telling me. He's ready to forgo what's left of eligibility and come play now, which I think with the number 2 overall pick, you don't want to wait. Let's get him in here. Nelson Lacombo. Unless the Hamilton Tiger Cats take him number 1 overall and screw all of that up. But the Hamilton Tiger Cats could take Josh Palmer. He's from Mississauga. He's the number 1 guy on the board. But he was also drafted in the NFL on the weekend. So there's some intrigue going into tonight. But I get the sense that you haven't even put as much as that amount of thought into it.
No,
am I right?
You're right. I mean, I haven't put a lot of thought into it, but Nelson Lacombo is a player I have been following him for a long time in the Canadian football or in youth sports in the Canada West, and I think where he goes, that team will win the draft. I think he's the most impactful player in the first round that will come in and make a difference. Familiar with the game, good kid, great family, and a kid who CFL people have told me. The last time he was on the field with the University of Saskatchewan, he could have walked right into his CFL locker room and gotten on the field, not just been a practice roster player.
Right.
So he's ready. He's ready to go.
That's our prediction. Are you saying number 2, Nelson Lacombo as well?
Yeah.
They should take him. Let's put it that way. So anyways, that's Peter and Paul Positive, the Positive brothers here. And now I'm going to turn my hat sideways and go to Rod the Realist. I was thinking about that last night. So this from the Victoria Times columnist, of which I read almost every day. From yesterday, Provincial Health Officer Dr. Bonnie Henry said Monday, we're in a whole different world now thanks to the vaccines rollout, but that won't necessarily usher in a return to normalcy for sports, concerts, and cultural events this summer, fall, or early next winter. So hang on. Take that down for 1 sec, guys. I'll call for it in a sec. She said, sports will be played this summer and fall in BC, but likely without anything nearing full attendance permitted. Bonnie Henry in her media briefing Monday said perhaps hundreds of people could be allowed for concerts, cultural and sports events, but not thousands. Quote, there will not be any big events of any sort, even outdoors, through this summer or into the fall and winter of next year. There will not be big events where there's lots of crowds of people this summer. Now, if you can put that up, guys, sorry to juke you out of your shorts. So it was March 5th. I put this together. March 5th, Bonnie Henry said BC could not... Dr. Bonnie Henry says BC could be in post-pandemic world by summer. That got everybody excited. Monday, 5:10 p.m. Pacific, the headline, big events not likely to take place in BC this summer, Dr. Henry. Now, I was going back and forth with the Bedard camp yesterday. You can take that down, guys. And I said, man, I pray that we can get crowds to watch Connor in the fall in Regina here in the Brand Center. And I sent them that and I sent it to a few people, and people take it to think that that's a shot at Bonnie Henry. It's not. So what are you saying? I'm not saying anything. There's the highlights. There's the quotes. You make your own judgment. What I'm saying is, if she doesn't know, who knows? That's a 180 within 2 months. She is the top expert. I got a hella respect for her. But if she's going to do a flip-flop on where we're going, how can we make any predictions for how sports is going to go? Does that make sense?
Makes complete sense. All you can do is assess life in the environment you're in today. Can we go out? Can we not go out? And based on the information that we have today, this is what we project for the future. And that's what she did back in March.
Yes.
But that's how much things change. We live in a different world than we did in March. And we'll live in a different world in August. Doesn't mean that it won't flip back in August and things might get better. But that just tells you that playing CFL football or having fans in hockey arenas, it's no sure thing, no matter how far off you're looking.
Doesn't look very realistic to me. So that's the cold, hard facts from Rod the Realist. So you can run off and say whatever you want. I'll say it for a second time. That's not to make her look bad. That's to say that's the person we're all following. And for sure, BC is definitely, and she's saying no crowds even until the winter, indoor or outdoor. So put it that way. And then the poll question today for Capital Automall, Universal Collision Center with dealerships all across the prairies is, will you be following the CFL Draft tonight? On Twitter, 57% saying no, they will not. What's it on Facebook?
61% say no.
43% on Twitter saying yes. 39% on Facebook saying, again, Rod the Realist. We're excited about it because we're CFL fans. Not everybody's excited about it. And I'll go one step further. Nelson Hakowich writes in and says, where will Kyle Borsa land tonight? And again, I'm following this. U of R Rams receiver, I don't think he's going to get drafted. He wasn't in the top 20 prospects. But the road to the Hall of Fame's paved with guys that never got drafted.
That's right.
Rob Bagg, Neil Hughes. They're going to have a garage party tonight. Socially distanced, Kyle Borsa tells us. I don't think he's going to get drafted. And again, Rod Realist rears his head. But we'll be following. But the majority of our respondents saying they won't. And that's a sports show.
Yeah.
So moving on. Monday NHL leftovers, and there's a lot here. One, Cole Caulfield doesn't waste them. You know what that means? When he scores, he makes them count. And that's overtime winners, and they came back and beat your Leafs in a hell of a hockey game last night.
That's fun. If you love hockey, you love games like that.
That was a great game.
It was a great game, and it makes me sad that, and maybe it's in your Montreal, Winnipeg are tied for third, because I want Toronto to play Montreal in the first round just for that entertainment.
Do we trust the Oilers' goaltending? I don't. I'm saying it again. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. No, I don't trust their goaltending. So, hey, we got Connor. He's in the race. It's one of my leftovers. He's a lock for the Ross and the Hart. But let's not get wrapped up in regular season glory. Okay?
Yes.
What do they say? All-stars are made in the regular season. Legends are made in the playoffs. And that's coming up in next week or 10 days' time. And also, do you love Tom Wilson if he's on your team? It would be pretty hard to love Tom Wilson whether he's on your team or he's not. Come on. He's running around last night, sucker, cheap-shotting Russians. He jumps Panarin. And I'm sitting there trying to defend the guy going, well, his gloves aren't off. Does that mean something that he's punching them with his gloves on?
That'd be different.
It's a small difference.
But when you go from punching guys to doing the face slam into the ice, that's completely not part of the game, hockey, fighting, or any of it, that's where he lost me. The Broadway Hat podcast boys are watching in New York right now. Kyle Hall says, how is the NHL this tone deaf? $5,000 fine is a joke. One of the most exciting players in the NHL gets his head bounced off the ice by a player that's a repeat offender and nothing. Listen, when Dylan Dubé didn't get anything for smashing his forearm into Kotkaniemi's face at the start of the year, remember that? Like, almost broke his nose. He got nothing. I thought he'd get 5 to 7 games. So what they see is different from what I see. And Kyle, let's not forget you're a Rangers fan. Did you see David Quinn going off last night? The Rangers head coach. So you're not exactly nonpartisan here. No. But Tom Wilson was a repeat offender on the same play.
He did it twice.
He did it twice.
Yeah. So fun night in the National Hockey League.
Yes.
As they all are. Point 3 in the quick 6 show topics here. Canada spanks the Czechs 10-3 Monday. Connor Bedard, 2 goals, 3 assists. He was the story of the game. Yeah, put the camera on him, please.
Hail the kid.
As I said to Kevy in Vancouver, close to the Bedard family, I said, wait till he gets comfortable, Kevy. He's 5 points. He's still sorting out his role. And they'll now play Sweden in the semifinals. So it's just been a great hockey. Boy, I got to move on. Covering a lot of ground here. Point 4. I got to say this. So LeBron, I think he missed again last night with an ankle injury. Did you see his comment about the play-in?
Yeah.
LeBron says whoever thought of the play-in one-game showdown to get into the NBA playoffs should be fired. I'm starting to think LeBron should get fired. Because he's only looking at it from his own perspective, and he's 36, he's old, he's beat up, he doesn't want to play an extra game, I guess. But I was the one saying the NHL should have held on to the play-in and got 24 teams on the lip of the playoffs every year. It was so awesome last year. Mm-hmm. More hockey, the better. Ball for all in the NBA. But because, like LeBron literally is lobbying for a guy to get fired. For a guy that actually came up with, I think, is a pretty good idea.
Doing baseball.
Yeah. Wild card.
Play in one game. That's way you go. Every year. Doesn't seem to have a problem with it. Engages fan bases that much further. I like it. I don't think it's a problem, but, the Lakers are on a bit of a slide, and there's a threat that he might be in that game. So I get it. Everybody wants to look out for themselves, but also when LeBron talks, people listen. He carries a lot of weight. A lot of history with the game. He's one of the greatest of all time. So when he speaks, you kind of have to listen. He's earned that.
Jeff Kibilis in Winnipeg says LeBron's head is swelling with ego. I've always been a LeBron fan, but he's really losing me lately. Like when they win the NBA championship last year, and he's like, it's about damn time. It's your third team with a championship, LeBron. You haven't got respect your whole life. We've all respected you. What are you bitching about all the time? He's always bitching.
I know.
He's had a pretty good life from what I could see. Moving on. Point 5, the Oakland A's beat the Blue Jays last night. 5-4 was the final. George Springer didn't play again. We're not concerned yet. We are not concerned yet. But it's coming.
Yet.
Yeah. Vladdy had 3 hits. They're not going to win them all. But first game of a long road trip, they're just settling in. It's a 4-game set. They'll be fine. Just saying George Springer didn't play. And point 6, for the Green Bay Packers. Did you see the latest from their head coach, Matt LaFleur, on the Aaron Rodgers thing? I don't know if you saw this.
Not from LaFleur.
Yeah, he addressed the media yesterday, the head coach of the Green Bay Packers, and he said he can't fathom life without Aaron Rodgers. So he's like the kids in this divorce.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I think.
No, yeah, absolutely. They all are. LaFleur is. Devontae Adams, he had
They're the kids.
The tweet, right? I think he said, I guess you really got to enjoy things while you have them, or something along those lines, right? And really appreciate what you have, is what he said. And then the GM says, I don't think that this relationship is beyond repair. He said that, right? There's always one person in the relationship that wants to stay in, right? But
and there's always one that has one foot out the door.
But guess what? You need two people who want to be all the way in. Otherwise, it's not going to work. If they're not both all the way in, it's not going to work.
Yeah, thank you.
And,
free marital advice.
Free advice.
From the guy that's never been married. But
I've also never been divorced. So
that's right.
Sign me up.
There you go. So that's the Quick Six. This has been the warm-up for the Four Seasons Sports Palace. Order in from the Four Seasons Sports Palace, 909 Arcola Avenue East. Proud supporters of the Rod Pedersen Show. Don Taylor next. We're going to Vancouver. It's going to be fantastic. We're going to talk a lot of CFL and BC Lions football, some Canucks, some Seattle Kraken. That's all ahead. You're watching the RP Show on Game Plus TV, YouTube, and Facebook Live in 24-hour sports talk for Suds Full Service Car Wash at rodpedersen.com. Listen live.
You're watching Rod Pedersen on demand. For more of the Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.